Let's take a look at how to make a graph of M&Ms versus mass using Logger Pro. The first thing to do is open up Logger Pro. When you open up Logger Pro, click on the dataset, double click on dataset, and give it a name. In this case, we will do M&Ms versus mass. Click on X and Y to change what the units are going to be. In X, we are going to have the number of M&Ms on the X-axis, so we can call it number of M&Ms. Short name, we will just call that M&Ms, with the units being M&Ms as well, or just M&M. That would be the unit for that. Go ahead and click on OK. That will show up right here. Click on our y-axis. In our y-axis, we are going to be measuring mass. Short name, lowercase m. Units for mass are going to be grams, so we just use G for that. Click on OK. We now have our axes labeled. And if you would have these in the wrong axis, you can always come down here onto your graph, click on that, and choose whatever you want to have on the x-axis. Click on the x-axis, choose whatever you want to have here. Let's go back up to here and fill in data into our columns at this time. So we're going to do 6 different groupings. In this, I chose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. You guys can choose whatever you want for the lab. And then I'll put in some numbers here. These are not necessarily what you guys will come up with. These are just to show you how to do this. So we'll put in some numbers. And you'll notice as I'm putting the numbers in, the graph is going to be starting on the screen. You'll see it as a red line here. You'll notice that after I finish, the graph does not take up the whole screen. If you would like to have this take up the whole screen, you can come up here to where it says Auto Scale in the menu. Click on Auto Scale. It will make it take up the entire screen. If you have a certain range that you want it to take up, you can always click here to change the maximum value on the y-axis. Maybe we want that to go to 50. Click down here to set the minimum value on the y-axis. We want that at 0. You can click over here to set the maximum value you want on the x-axis. I'm just choosing random numbers here. You guys can choose whatever you need to for the lab. You'll also notice that this red line is actually drawn as point to point to point to point. Looks pretty straight. We would like to see a curve fit go through here. So to do a curve fit, first of all, we're going to get rid of this red line. We're going to double click on the graph. And we are going to get rid of where it says connect lines. We're going to click off on that. We are going to put point protectors in there just to make it show up and easier for you to see all the dots once they're on there. I'm also going to give this graph a title, and I'm just going to give this one a title of M&Ms versus mass. Click on Done. You will see now that all the points are in a line here. I want to put a straight line here. I can do this a couple different ways. I can go to Linear Fit in the menu, or I can go to Curve Fit, which I will choose a Linear Fit later. For right now, if it looks straight, I'll just click on Linear Fit. It will give me a straight line that's coming through here. It will give me some data. It will tell me what the slope is. This is going to be our experimental slope. It'll tell me what the y-intercept is. This will give me the y-intercept. I can also double click on this box, and I can choose to see what the standard deviations are for the slope and the y-intercept. You should choose those. When you do that, they will show up at the bottom here. What the standard deviation of the slope and the y-intercept is it tells us something about the uncertainty in our measurements. It tells us that our slope is 0.2191 grams per m&m plus or minus 0.001256 grams per m&m. So it tells you something about the uncertainty in each one of our measurements. And the y-intercept here, it says that it is 2.033 grams plus or minus 0.04892 grams. That's the uncertainty in our y-intercept with our measurements. Now, if I want to look at anything along this line, I can go up to the Analyze menu and click on the Interpolate button. When I click on the Interpolate button, as I run the cursor up and down the screen, it will show up on the number that you see right here. You see the number of M&Ms versus the mass. So anywhere along here, I can go to a certain number of M&Ms and see what the mass is, or I can go to a certain mass and tell you what the number of M&Ms is that corresponds to that mass. When you finish with all of this, you should do a screen capture of your graph and save it as a JPEG, and then send that to me so that you can get credit for that. If you have any questions, we will talk about that on Monday when I get back to school. So at this time, if you need to, you can replay this to see how any of this was done, or you can go ahead and finish up your lab.